Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knife to Go Quick Look product review, and this time we're looking at the Yamashin Shidogami or white number 1 Funayuki 135mm knife. The core steel is Shidogami or white paper number 1, a reactive high carbon steel from Hitachi. Heat treat's not specified, but it's probably in the 60, 61, maybe 62 range. These are kind of done by hand, an eye, so. The construction is a 3-layer sandwich with soft iron cladding on either side of that core steel. The iron cladding does have a Kudauchi or blacksmith finish applied to that, and then it also has lacquer on it as well. What that does mean is out-of-the-box edge isn't very sharp because the lacquer is coating the edge, so you want to sharpen these out of the box. It is Shidogami number 1, so it's going to take a screaming sharp edge and sharpen quite easily, which this one did. These are a pleasure to sharpen. Also, this has a little bit of a flatter blade profile. If you're looking for something that's kind of easy to sharpen and easy to learn on, look for a Santoku or a Nakiri or something like this. It's got a little bit flatter blade profile, not super long, and white number 1, and you'll feel like a champ. It's so easy to sharpen, it's ridiculous. The weight on this is 96 grams, 3.4 ounces, and these dimensions will vary a little bit from knife to knife, but edge length on this one's right about 140 or 5.5 inches, overall length about 10 inches. The spine thickness coming out of the handle above the heel is about 3.1, and it shrinks down a little bit off of that, but holds it's pretty stout, which Funayukis generally are, but this will hold most of its thickness until you hit the very, very, very tip. So it's not a super skinny tip, as you can tell. Blade height is 44.3 millimeters. This is a double bevel ground, single bevel Funayuki. The handle is the newer handles they're putting on these, which is the octagonal walnut with black packerwood ferrule. Really nice handle. Fit and finish do have some gaps right where it goes into the tang, so you want to seal that up with something, epoxy or beeswax or something to keep the moisture out of there. Handle circumferences are full-size 3-inch circumference handled, but it does seem to fit this blade. You might think it's a little bit big. It's kind of unorthodox in the size, but it kind of handles pretty nicely nonetheless. Here's the blade finish, so it's pretty nicely done. These are surprisingly well finished, and they have some texture to them and some slight hammer marks, but definitely got a kind of refined rustic look. A little bit shiny because of the lacquer. When that comes off, it should be more of a matte finish. Got some embossed kanji and symbol there. Easy to see the core steel showing through the kind of a bead-blasted blade road here. You can see the very edge where I sharpened it. And fit and finish, these are pretty well ready to go out of the box outside of touching up the edge. They've got a little bit of relief on the spine and a little bit on the choil, although you could clean those up. You could bump the aesthetics of this thing up quite a bit by maybe polishing and smoothing the blade road and making it silver instead of black, like the Kurosaki AS are, and cleaning up the spine a little bit, and you'd have quite a bit upper echelon fit and finish right off of that without too much work. Balance point's going to be pretty much right where the handle ends on this. And let's see what else. Let's look at it on the board, because this definitely will do some board work. These are a high value line of knives. You got that nice pointy tip and a fairly flat profile. So this will be a pretty good short knife for board work. Could be really handy, kind of a tall petty if you're interested in that. Real smooth profile on this guy. Can't get real high because I'll dig the tip in just because of the shape of the blade, but high enough. So this is a pretty cool little knife, actually. Again, it's not a laser. The tip's not super skinny, but pretty neat knife. Actually a little more versatile than you might think, especially with the extra height and the flat profile. So, cool knife. There you have the Yamashin Shidogami number 1 Funayuki 135mm.